me about the business. What does it do?
Yeah, so Pitcrew really builds or designs and builds solutions for autonomous tyre inspection, and we supply those solutions to the mining industry, but then also commercial fleet operators. And we really do that to help those customers improve their overall safety, which then drives total cost of ownership down, helps them with preventative maintenance as well, and it gives them a better view of their fleet health overall.
When was it established?
Yeah, so Pitcrew.ai has been around in its current form for about 4 years. It's formally incorporated in 2020. Prior to that, it was industrial monitoring and control, really a consulting business in heavy industry. And we had some customers come to us with specific issues around tyre damage prevention and detection in the Pilbara. And that's how the Pitcrew system was born. So first solution deployed in 2018, 2019, and then Pitcrew.ai was formally born in 2020.
So talk to me about what your role is across the business.
Yeah, so I'm formerly hardware engineering manager, but Pitcrew.ai being a relatively small business, the role is broader than that. So really responsible end-to-end design through to delivery. So I have a team of engineers and operations people working for me, and we take the concept of the Pitcrew inspection station and we design it, and then we manufacture that, and then we deliver it to our customers.
So you're here based in Newcastle, over at Carrington.
Yeah, we're just in Carrington.
But your client base is spread wide nationally.
Yeah, nationally and globally. So we have systems deployed here in Australia, predominantly in the Pilbara, but then we also have systems deployed in North America, South America, some systems in Africa as well. So yeah, fairly global customer base. But yeah, headquartered here in Newcastle.
And you mentioned that from an employee perspective, quite small. Talk to me about the size of your employees, but then you've got a lot of engineers. What you do is quite unique. What sort of skill set do they need to have?
Yeah, so at the moment we're about 30 people, give or take. In terms of people that we have on site, we have a large proportion of software engineers and developers. So that's really the backbone of the system is the AI and the software that runs the inspection. Then we have a number of electrical engineers that help with system design, and mechanical engineers that help with the physical design and the manufacturing processes that sit behind that as well.
And what do you find within your teams? Obviously, you've got a national and global client base. How do you really cultivate, your local teams to be able to then work with such a broad geographical client base?
Yeah, certainly, in South America we do have some local representation as well, so that helps with integrating systems over there. In terms of the workforce for us, it's really about giving them exposure to those global customers, those global environments. So that helps foster some of that understanding of the global marketplace for those people in the business.
So I'm really curious. I've got a general understanding of what Pitcrew does, but help me understand, why does a client come to you, or what are their problems, or what solutions do they need when they come to you?
Yeah, so in the mining space there's this really unique problem for the large dump trucks, those big yellow dump trucks that every child plays with. But they might carry 300 tonnes of ore, the truck might weigh another 200 tonnes, so that puts a huge amount of pressure on the tyres themselves. They develop an internal defect called a tread separation. If that's left unchecked, that can result in an uncontrolled fire and a potential asset loss of $3, $4, $5 million, depending on the type of truck. So what Pitcrew.ai offers is essentially a preventative solution to that problem. So we can detect those injuries much earlier than a physical inspection. We do that through the use of infrared thermal cameras, and they can basically detect minute temperature changes in those tyres, and then we can monitor that tyre over a given time period, usually a couple of days or a week, and we can alert the customer to a potential issue with a truck tyre. That allows the customer to bring that vehicle in as part of a preventative maintenance plan, and they can assess the damage and then choose to either repair or replace the tyre, depending on the severity of that injury.
And how do you remain competitive in your space? Because it is unique.
It is unique. So I guess at the moment we do have a first mover advantage. There are some existing systems out there that look at tyre pressure and tyre temperature, but that looks at the bulk of the tyre and is mounted internally within the hub. The overall thermal mass of the tyre itself those systems can't inspect really discrete points in the tread pack. And so that's where we really have a commercial advantage over the other systems, where we can detect really localized temperature variances, and we can pick up a couple of degrees variance. So it's really, really minor changes, and then we can track those over time. That's where the other systems are not as effective as we are.
And we've talked about your background, being in the mining industry for a really long time. What is it that you really love about Pitcrew and what you offer and what you do?
So I guess what drew me first to Pitcrew was that it's such a novel solution to a problem. It's using a solution for other industries and deploying that at a mine site. The other avenue, I guess, that we have is that on-road system that really looks at the commercial fleet and haulage areas. And so every time you drive down the M1 to Sydney, you see all these trucks rolling past, and we have inspected those at some of the NHVR sites. And it's pretty scary what you see rolling around on public roads. So that's really an opportunity for us where we can make a difference to the broader public at large.
And you talked about, obviously, headquarters is here in Newcastle, which I think is fantastic, that it's not sitting in a major city. You know, Newcastle's such a great place to have it. You talked about using local businesses to really support what you're manufacturing and the products that you need. Is there anything that you haven't been able to source locally that you'd like to see more of?
Yeah, I mean, there's some niche manufacturing techniques that aren't cost effective in Australia, so things like metal 3D printing. We've had to go to China for that, and that was really around cost and lead time for a rush project. For most of the other activity, we can source that locally in the Hunter, and if not in the Hunter, then in broader New South Wales. So at the moment, there isn't really a manufacturing capability that's holding us back, which is probably a testament to this region. And it's good to hear. I love that it can be really centralised in this location. Exactly.
Which is good. You've got such a unique product. Outside of the mines and the trucks that you service, what is the view, or is there a view around diversification of your product, and what does it look like?
So I've mentioned previously we have an on-road solution that's really used to inspect large commercial fleets, so semi-trailers and the like. We can use that to inspect tyres, brakes and wheel bearings. We see that really sort of driving into the dangerous goods market, the transportation of dangerous goods. So that's ammonium nitrate emulsions for explosives deliveries to mine sites as a starting point. The West Australian government has just introduced legislation that requires truck drivers to stop at fairly frequent intervals and use handheld thermal cameras to inspect tyres and also the wheel hubs. Now we know that we can do that while the truck is rolling, so that's really an opportunity that we see a great value in, where we can work with those fleet operators and reduce their overall transit time while keeping the truck driver, the trucks and also the public safe.